So yeah, a little bit of a impromptu stream here. Wasn't planning on doing it today, but yeah, I decided to talk about, I guess, somewhat of a breaking news, a story in respect to the actor who's going to portray the character Jeff in part two of season 6 of Better Call Saul. Like I said, I've been keeping track of everything that's been happening, even though I haven't been able to, make videos about it. But I've definitely been noticing the teasers and various forms of promotional trailers, I suppose you would call them, that have been put out in respect to to sort of prepare everyone for season 6 of Better Call Saul. So, hey, how's it going, everyone? Yeah, at Brad Kelly, I agree completely. I was really bought into this actor, and it's crazy. He's only been in 2 episodes. He was in the first episode of season 4 of Better Call Saul, and he was also, I believe, that was entitled Smoke, and he was also in season 5 of Better Call Saul, the premiere entitled Magic Man. And yeah, despite the fact he's only been in two scenes more or less, and he's only had a speaking role in 1 episode, it's crazy. Everything that we saw in the episode entitled Magic Man, all of his mannerisms, all of his sort of interactions with Gene will, it is what it is. It's Hollywood at World Record Method. I think it was just filming obligations from what I've read, according to what I've seen on Reddit, and what's been written here as well. Apparently, he had some filming obligations in respect to an HBO show called We Own This City. And who knows, we have to remember that, despite the fact that life is sort of getting back to normal back in 2020, I believe, or was it the end of 2020, 2021, when this was being filmed, we have to remember the state of the world, and maybe, due to maybe certain, filming obligations in respect to health and safety and all of that stuff, maybe he had to, I don't know, quarantine with the people he was working with on one show versus, being able to go back and forth with Better Call Saul. Again, I don't know. It's sort of just, new information that's sort of just breaking here. But yeah, again, apparently it was just at Andre Franca. Apparently, again, there's very little information that's come out so far of concrete information. It's really looking like a recast, though. I mean, if we look at the comparison here, I remember when they put out this short trailer. I believe was it today? It was today. I remember this morning when I woke up and saw it, and I was watching it, and I saw the scene here of Jeff the cab driver. I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't look like Jeff. This is a completely different actor. What's going on here? And the rumors spread quickly, and it appears that it's been more or less confirmed. Again, the exact reasons why we still don't know. But yeah, like I was sort of talking about, it sucks because, I'd been bought in so much to this character, and it's unbelievable. I mean, it was just an unbelievable piece of acting by, Don Harvey, who plays Jeff. That one scene in the shopping mall where he's speaking with Gene, and just all of the sort of, backstory and all of the character that I guess the actor crafted, for this character, the sort of personality and backstory. Again, it sucks. It is what it is. I mean, I hope, it's not too noticeable. I mean, it probably is going to be completely noticeable if I tell you the truth. It sucks. It's not ideal whatsoever. I mean, I kind of went back to, I pointed this out in a couple, maybe a live stream or two in the past, but if you go back to season 3 of Breaking Bad and the episode entitled Full Measure, the very first shot we ever got of Mike's daughter-in-law, of course, at the time we didn't know it was his daughter-in-law. This actor here, and again, I'm not sure about her name per se. She was just a background character who didn't have any dialogue. But this is most certainly not Carrie Condon, who is the actor who they hired to portray Mike's daughter-in-law in Better Call Saul, when this character would, of course, have much more sort of influence and more of a speaking role, and wouldn't just be waving to the back, in behind the scenes without any dialogue. I mean, the resemblance, it's kind of hard to see from a distance, and there really wasn't any dialogue per se, but this is quite the recast here. This sort of recast of Mike's daughter-in-law that we saw in Breaking Bad, this really pales in comparison to a extremely integral, crucial character to the story, who's had speaking dialogue, who has a voice and has a personality and has a mannerism. and it's and has mannerisms, excuse me, and to sort of have to recast this with a completely different actor, it's not ideal. And I definitely remember people talking online, when this first came out, like, is this a different cab driver that also happens to know Gene? Maybe, maybe that's a potential theory here. But if you go back and sort of look at this sort of trailer here, and it's hard to see because the shot's not really in focus completely. There's a quick shot of what appears to be Jeff getting out of his cab, and even though a different actor is portraying him, we can definitely see right here, if you can see it, I might have to move the screen a little bit because my face might be blocking it, but this picture right here of this, what appears to be the exact same sweater that Jeff was wearing in season 5 of Breaking Bad, in the episode, season 5 of Better Call Saul, in the episode entitled Magic Man. It's definitely meant to be the exact same character, even though the actor can't portray him. So yeah, this stinks. Again, it's an aesthetic thing. It's kind of like akin to, I guess, Mike's daughter-in-law. Mike's daughter-in-law as well as his granddaughter. How many Kayleys have we had? So far through this series. But it is what it is. Pretty funny, sort of the memes kind of going around on the Better Call Saul subreddit here, in respect to the sort of breaking news here. And again, it's sort of, I was thinking more about sort of maybe contemplating a little bit more on, what potential storyline we may see in the premiere of part 2 of season 6, but with, more or less with the entire sort of episode already been seen by lots of people. I know the sort of, the leaks have been floating around there online. I've done my, part. I actually have avoided them completely. I truly have absolutely no idea what happens in respect to the episode 8 with outside of the teasers, the official sort of teasers that they posted. I believe 3 of them. Outside of that, I have no idea what happens. So I definitely, it's kind of hard to sort of really sort of speculate on the plot of episode 8 when the actual sort of entire episode is out there if you really wanted to sort of dig deep in the internet and find it. But it is what it is, I suppose. It's just the way of the world. I mean, the memes have been pretty funny. I mean, you can go on Reddit. I won't go through all of them, but it's pretty great for sure. And yeah, how's it going, Andre Franca again? Yeah, that's a good point. Again, I think it was just filming obligations. Again, this is all just off the top of my head here. I would imagine it had something to do with the way of the world and how there were a lot of strict filming requirements in respect to making TV and movies. Again, we have to remember this was shot during a pandemic, so maybe the actor couldn't go in between sets or something to that effect. At Andre Franca. Again, we also have to remember that the actor Laura Frazier, who plays Lydia Dark Quayle, was unable to reprise her role because she was unable to travel between the U.S. and Scotland, unfortunately. So, she's not going to be in season 6 of Better Call Saul. So, again, we don't have any official reason why they did this, but I would imagine, the pandemic probably had something to do with this. So, yeah, I definitely knew. At Uri Groves, yeah, he definitely looks a lot younger than Jeff for sure. Don Harvey's actually in his 60s. So when all those theories that were floating out there in respect to, maybe the cab driver being Clifford Main's son, I mean, that was, kind of out there with, I believe the actor who plays Clifford Main is like 13 years older than Jeff. So I mean, I've talked about that in the past, but yeah, he is a lot younger for sure at Uri Groves. And, it is what it is. I mean, I feel like with this show just, stringing on as I wouldn't say string on, but with the show just sort of lasting as long as it has. And we have to remember, I mean, Breaking Bad started all the way back in 2007, 2008. And now we're 15 years in the future here. I mean, it's crazy. So with just all of the sort of logistical sort of considerations that I guess fans of this show sort of don't really consider when they're watching it. I guess you just sort of have to factor it in. And I would imagine that, the way of the world in 2020 and 2021 had something to do with this. And I would imagine if this wasn't filmed in such, extraneous circumstances, I would imagine the same actor would be portrayed. Again, this is not the ideal circumstance whatsoever. The creators didn't want to have to do this. I mean, they had to reshoot this entire scene. More or less. I mean, this is an entire reshoot compared to what we saw in the episode entitled Magic Man because you have a completely different actor. And I mean, from what I've heard so far in respect to the voice of this character, I mean, I don't know if I can play the audio here, but it definitely sounds a lot different. I mean, again, I know some people have talked about, maybe his voice will sound different in the actual, actual episode. But if you go back and listen to this sort of teaser right here, the voice sounds pretty different. Don Harvey's voice was very distinct, and this is definitely quite different in my opinion compared to Jeff before. So it's going to be quite a trip to see a completely different actor. And that's the thing too. It's like Jeff is not just a sort of tertiary, secondary character who's sort of consequential to the story. I mean, Jeff was the first person in Omaha, Nebraska to recognize the notorious Saul Goodman from Albuquerque, New Mexico. I mean, he's a he's an extremely crucial part to the Gene Takovic storyline. I mean, the whole climax of that story basically took off when Jeff recognized him. He's an extremely crucial character. So have to recast a character like this, it's quite something. And I mean, I could only imagine what would happen if you had to recast an even bigger actor than this. Like one of the main characters. It almost seems unfeasible, but I guess, Jeff is sort of the level of character where he's I guess crucial enough where it's noticeable, but he's also not inconsequential enough where it's like no big deal, if that sort of makes sense. So yeah, at Siran Keeler, again, I apologize with that name. I sometimes think about that as well. Again, I feel like the only thing was when it was being filmed, I don't think that everyone was anticipating the world sort of getting back to normal as quickly as it did. I feel like back in 2020, 2021, if you go back and read a lot of these sort of news articles, there were a lot of people speculating that, this might be the new normal, quote unquote, and this may go on for decades or something to that effect. Again, no one knows. Everyone was just speculating and pontificating. No one could have, anticipated, the world kind of getting back to the way it was. It just again, I feel like they maybe thought this was just the new normal, and they didn't know. I guess with the benefit of hindsight, maybe if you sort of knew the world was going to get back to normal in 2022, maybe you wait. You've waited this long, maybe you wait a little bit longer. But again, I think that's just sort of with the benefit of hindsight there, unfortunately, to say they shouldn't have filmed it. And I definitely think you're right. If you have the benefit of hindsight, I think you're spot on. But at the time, I think people really just didn't anticipate that, things would kind of get back to normal. And, all of the sort of things that we were doing back in 2020 and 21 really aren't, as mandatory. I mean, you can only imagine just the sort of logistical nightmares that were, involved in like filming like television shows. And I remember, was it Tom Cruise who had that like major breakdown that was like sort of the audio was captured when he was filming some movie or something to that effect. So everyone was kind of real sort of uptight about all the rules and regulations about these things. So yeah, this is super not ideal that, they had to recast this actor, but it is what it is. Again, as soon as I saw this, I'm like, man, that sucks. That just goes against everything in respect to, continuity and sort of good storytelling. So yeah, add Brad Kelly. That's true. Just a little over a week, and then we'll finally get to find out. Again, I don't even know if Gene Takovic will be displayed to us in the 8th episode of season 6 of Better Call Saul. If you went to that Tribeca premiere, you already know what happens if he's in it or if he's not in the first place. So again, it's kind of hard to speculate when so many people already know what happened. If you really want to know what happened by like sort of deep Googling this episode, but yeah, it's a damn shame for sure. And I guess, sort of to go over, I mean, again, I was kind of wondering if we were going to get like a full sort of trailer prior to the release of part 2 of season 6, but it definitely doesn't seem likely. I think we have three or four teasers maybe that have been released so far. One with one was, Kim sort of, giving her sort of, I don't even know what you say this, so sort of saying like the oath that you take when you become a lawyer, Again, I'm not sure what the actual technical term is, but that's basically all it is. Again, the context, I'm not really sure. Likely a flashback or something to that effect. Or maybe, who knows, maybe it doesn't have to, maybe it's not in the story at all, per se. It could just be some sort of extra dialogue that was created just for a teaser. Unlikely, though, with everything that, that has been displayed so far. I'd imagine that this sort of a dialogue here of Kim Wexler saying, I, Kimberly Wexler, do solemnly swear that as an attorney and as a counselor of this court, et cetera, et cetera. I imagine that this is likely a flashback scene. Again, I'm just speculating here. So, At capital H, I agree. I really agree. I definitely noticed that, there aren't a lot of people sort of, really sort of speculating sort of, deeply because the whole episode is out there if you want to find it. I mean, the whole, more or less, the whole episode is out there. So, um, unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but I mean, if you want to hear what happened, I truly have been avoiding all sorts of spoilers to the most of my ability for sure. So yeah, I'd imagine that this sort of oath is likely a flashback. Again, we also get another scene here with this one was released pretty recently with I believe Gene Tagrig. I mean, the dialogue's not here, but basically him saying, I'm not your friend. Don't come back for more. Again, he's likely talking to the cab driver here. Again, overt speculation. I'm not really sure, again, about trying to do that with, just the nature of the fact they already screened the episode. But again, just, it just really kind of, I don't even know, a little bit sort of deflating, if you will, in respect to sort of, being so, what's the word I'm looking for? Just being so conscious of sort of the continuity of everything, including the sort of appearances of the cast. Sort of being a stickler for the way characters look in Better Call Saul versus the way they look in Breaking Bad. And just the recast of Jeff the cab driver really sort of takes the winds out of the sails. It almost just sort of makes you kind of think, man, what's the point? Like what was the point of stressing in all those little things? They're not stressing per se, but really just sort of nitpicking the continuity. At Cinco Bones, thank you so much for the super chat. Missed you, bro. Hope all is well. I'm doing great, man. I hope you're doing great as well. It's been a good summer for me. I hope everyone else's summer is going really well, too. Definitely, the big day's almost here. We're less than 2 weeks out. Monday will be a week away, and definitely looking forward to watching this episode and talking about it for sure. And definitely also looking forward to a little bit more open speculation on episodes 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, where hopefully they won't pre-screen it for a few people. And, those people will sort of, leak a large portion of the entire episode on the internet beforehand. But, I really appreciate the super chat for sure. So, how's it going, Ryan Buckley? I appreciate it. I'm doing great. Thank you so much for Thanks so much for checking in. At Brad Kelly, no, I didn't see the screening, but the thing is, it's out there. I know a lot of people have seen the screening, and a lot of people know what already happens if you sort of read all the spoilers that are online. So again, I'm not opposed to speculating per se, but it's kind of weird when like outside, it's more than just the creators of the episode. Lots of fans already know what happens. So at any concrete speculation, I just feel like sort of really is sort of futile when it's already out there. Where a lot of people will be like, well, you're wrong or you're totally wrong on this part. And, people do say it's quite surprising, I would imagine. So, I just can't wait to see it. And, we'll see it in a few days. I mean, what is it, like 10 days away or something to that effect? So, and yeah, I mean, this was probably the one that really sort of got me on the edge of my seat here. The one where we hear what was, I believe, confirmed to be Lalo Salamanca by Thomas Now saying, "Now what to do with you?" And I would imagine that this is him talking with Jimmy and Kim. I would imagine that this is the case for sure. Again, we don't know. Maybe the people who've already seen the episode probably already know. But I would imagine he's talking about Kim here, most likely. Again, I'm not really sure. I feel like the fact that he knows Jimmy, aka Saul, a little bit more makes me feel that he's saying this to Kim Wexler instead of Saul. Or who knows? Maybe he's not saying this to either character. Maybe this has something completely to do with completely something else. I've speculated a lot in the past about just the sort of crazy nature of the fact that, despite the fact that the circumstances seem so dire for Saul and Kim, that at least Saul is going to get out of there unscathed, and most likely Kim as well. If you sort of read everything, even in respect to sort of that interview that Ray Seahorn did with, was it Vogue, I believe, where she said, like, death is not the only tragic ending. So you would imagine that both these characters are getting out of here for sure, out of Jimmy and Kim's apartment, especially with that sort of behind-the-scenes fan footage of Kim outside of Saul Goodman's office smoking a cigarette. So, yeah. Thank you so much, Paul Sura. I really appreciate it. the super chat. Again, you do a better job promoting my channel than I do. So yeah, I'd really appreciate the yeah, as Paul Sura said, if you would smash that like button, I would not be opposed to it. I would really appreciate it for sure. So yeah, everyone out again. I'm sorry, everyone out there in the chat. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. It's pretty much confirmed that this is a recast, just with everything that's floating out there on online. Again, the reasons behind it are unclear. Outside of what's been reported by, again, I don't even know what's been confirmed, but it's definitely, I've seen some people say that this had to do with Don Harvey's obligations of another television show. And again, my sort of editorializing of it is that due to the sort of very strict nature of the filming sort of logistics that were happening in 2020 and 2021 because of the pandemic, he wasn't able to sort of maybe travel between sets or something to that effect because of quarantine rules and everything like that. And it's pretty crazy to think how, back, literally a year and a half ago, the rules were so unbelievably stringent. But, now things are kind of getting back to normal. So, at Pulsura, by the way, I was looking at your YouTube page, and if it's true that you're the public address announcer for the Phoenix Coyotes, as it says there, that's pretty awesome, as I saw there. So that's pretty cool. Like I said, I don't know too much about hockey, but that's pretty damn cool if that's the case. So I saw that. I think I saw that on your YouTube page, if I'm not mistaken. So again, really appreciate all the support on this channel. I really appreciate the promoting of the channel with the thumbs up. Yeah, really would really appreciate it if you you do that. Apparently, it really helps the stream. So yeah, thank you so much for the all the support. So. Yeah, at Saran Keeler, again, I've heard all the theories about how, who maybe they're sort of messing with us. Maybe this is sort of, like you said, a sort of, it's not truly a recast and it's some sort of literary or artistic vessel. But from everything I've seen, it's, it's gonna be a recast. I mean, you can tell. I mean, it looks like a completely different actor. I mean, if you just sort of look at the sort of comparison, it's definitely a different actor. And my first thought was like, did they recast it? And if they didn't recast it, why did they reshoot the scene with a different actor? Sort of, I had all of these questions initially when I saw this. This morning, the trailer that came out here, and I had immediate questions right away. So. At Pot the F. Yeah, I've definitely heard that actor Carol Burnett is going to be on there. The wife of Ed the Superior, if that's what sort of you're alluding to. So, at Pulsura, yes, they changed their name to the Arizona Coyotes, did they? Yeah, my bad. They used to be the Phoenix Coyotes, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so that is really cool. So again, I apologize. I'm not the biggest hockey fan. I know a little bit about it. I think I misspoke. I think I said there were 30 NHL teams, but I think they're 32 now with the Vegas expansion team and with the Seattle expansion team. So again, maybe I need to start getting into hockey again. I'm not too familiar with it, but that's really cool. That's really cool as I saw on your YouTube page. And again, thank you so much for the support on this channel. I really appreciate it. Yeah, at AB, it definitely looks like, I don't know if it's not a recast again. I don't know. Again, it's clearly a different actor. It's absolutely a different actor, and you wonder why. Again, I believe again, people were saying maybe this is sort of artistic or sort of literary vessel of of a younger sort of Jeff. But again, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, because the way this was shot sort of makes it look like the scene was reshot to have sort of he's wearing the exact same sweater. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, and we did see, if I'm not mistaken, there was another sort of AMC, if I can sort of open it up here without any problems. Hopefully. there was another sort of a video they put out. It was just sort of a compilation of the Gene's World video right here. And it had the sort of shots of Gene sort of it would appear to be in the back of the cab. I mean, I could click on this here. Hopefully there's not any problems. And here we go. Okay, perfect. So yeah, we have the sort of, again, I guess this sort of counts here. There's the sort of new scene here at ZZZ, and also who's someone else, I think also maybe, at Ciaran Keeler. Yeah, Pat Healy is apparently the new actor. So again, it's pretty much a recast if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I agree. At AB, I really had bought into Jeff's character completely. I thought he did a great job sort of playing that character who clearly, wants something from Gene, but again, it's not really clear. What, like, does he want money from him? Likely money. But at the same time, he was kind of playing the long game here, while basically telling him he wanted him to admit his identity, but at the same time saying, I'm just a call away, not really sort of, putting the sort of extortion sort of clamps right on Gene then and there, sort of, maybe sort of lulling him into a sort of false sense of security for some reason. So, yeah, Ion J. It wasn't confirmed, but it's kind of confirmed. It's kind of like going back to Deputy Director Oakley's sort of character of, there's knowing and there's proving. So I believe I paraphrased that quote there. So I think it's pretty much confirmed. It's not confirmed, but it's looking like it's going to be a new actor. At capital H, yeah, the voice was very different. If you go, again, I don't really know if I can play the audio, but if you go back and listen to that sort of video they put out this morning, the voice is completely different. Again, it's not completely different, but it's very, very noticeably different. And, it's sort of like, no matter what the difference was, I wouldn't have liked it. I mean, I feel like if this new actor was the original Jeff and they replaced him with Don Harvey, I wouldn't have liked that as well, because the character had already been sort of built in and all this sort of backstory had already been developed, even though we've only seen sort of one sort of scene with him talking. But it is what it is. So yeah, at Joe Blow, I mean, it is kind of disappointing, and I did kind of talk about this a little bit earlier in the stream about how it was sort of very deflating and really sort of got the wind out of my sails, where as someone who really sort of nitpicks every little sort of thing with the show, in respect to the sort of the appearances of the characters, and sort of, again, it's not going to be perfect with just the natural aging process, but you want it to be sort of, as consistent as possible. But when this total sort of recast, I mean, it makes the sort of, aging of Dean Norris playing a Hank Schrader seem like nothing. I mean, it's like, okay, he looks a little bit older, but it's nothing compared to a completely different actor. So yeah, it sort of is what it is. So but yeah, sort of going here again. Yeah, I mean, if we sort of look at the shot, I noticed this as well in this sort of what they released 2 days ago of this shot. I didn't really think anything of it. I thought, maybe, again, I really sort of even didn't think about it. I said, it kind of looks different, but I sort of just thought nothing of it. But when this trailer came out today with the completely different voice, I was like, oh man, this is definitely something. Because when I saw this 2 days ago, I'm like, that sort of doesn't look like Jeff. I don't know what's going on here. Maybe they had to recast this for some reason. But, the fact that they sort of have this scene right here of sort of Gene looking in the back and him sort of, it's the exact sort of mirror of what we saw in season 4 of A Better Call Saul in the episode entitled Smoke. I mean, it's clearly a reshooting of the exact same scene. So any sort of artistic, thing of us saying this is a younger version of Jeff or something to that effect, I just think that's not the case. So at x.ex, I have heard people say it's Aaron Paul's voice, maybe. Again, I'll have to go back and re-listen to that again. I'm not really sure about that. I know there were a lot of people speculating that maybe Walter White's voice was in the original trailer for season 6 of Better Call Saul. So, and it wasn't it was not his voice in the end. So again, I'm not sure. I'll have to go back and listen. I don't know if I can play it again. I could probably play it again. I don't know if it's the biggest deal. Like the what line are you talking about? The one where he says "say it"? Is that the the thing he says here? Again, I'm not so sure. I mean, I don't know the rules here about playing this, but I think I can play it very briefly, hopefully. So, is it the part where he says, "Come on, man, say it"? Is that the line? because I want to play as little of this as possible. So, is it the just the say it, or is it also the come on man? All right, I'll try to play a little bit here. I don't know. Okay, we'll see.
Come on, man. Say it.
It definitely sort of does sound like Jesse, but again, I think it could maybe this actor's voice could be similar to Jesse Pinkman's voice too. It's possible. I mean, it sort of sounds similar. Um, it sounds similar. I'll have to go back and listen to it a few more. I don't want to keep playing it over and over and over again just because of the sort of the you know how it is with the all that copyright stuff. But yeah, I'll have to go back and listen to it for sure. So at ZZ the King Z again, apparently it was because of filming obligations. So yeah, at Ryan Buckley, it kind of does sound somewhat similar to Jesse, but again, I'm not so sure about that because I go back to the trailer. I know there's this sort of theory floating around online where they said that Walter White was in the trailer. So yeah, at Alex Wolf, the say it part, it does sound like Jesse. The sort of again, his sort of vernacular sort of does sound similar even after just the one listen. But I'll definitely have to go back and listen to it a couple of times before I have a sort of concrete theory on that. So. But I mean, for anyone who, had Billy Balling's show ruined, that's funny. But yeah, it's true. The sort of misdirection at Ryan Buckley with the voice being maybe similar to Jesse's. But to anyone who doesn't think this is a recast, I mean, you can see in the thumbnail and you can see in the sort of these are clearly two different actors. It's definitely a different actor. Yeah, at Ranvar Molly, I agree. I like the old Jeff better. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I feel like whoever the old Jeff was, I would have liked it better because you hate the recast. This is the sort of what is it, the expression I'm looking for? This is like the least worst possible, the least worst best possible scenario. I don't know. It's not ideal whatsoever. This is not ideal at all. With a show that prides itself on continuity as much as it can, yes, they've made mistakes. We all know them. But, this is just a total sort of, like I said, it's like letting the sort of the air out of the balloon, sort of. That's how I kind of felt when I saw this. But it is what it is. And, it's unfortunate, but, it's, yeah, again, this show is so amazing. I mean, when you go back, again, I'm not a Star Wars fan at all. I'm not a real Star Wars fan, but I did sort of, I was looking a little bit at the sort of reviews of that show Obi-Wan that came out. Again, I'm not too familiar with it, but I did see a lot of people complain that ever since Disney bought Star Wars, like continuity doesn't even exist apparently. I've seen a lot of sort of hardcore fans of Star Wars, before they sold it to Disney sort of say that, they haven't been paying attention to continuity whatsoever. So again, no show is going to be perfect. Maybe you say you wish, Better Call Saul was a sort of A plus in continuity instead of maybe an A or A minus. But for a show that really, really tries to sort of, be very strict in respect to its canon, even in respect to the smallest little pieces of throwaway dialogue, you still respect it as a show. And of course, I know people are sort of joking here when they say the show is ruined, but, it's definitely not ruined, but it's not ideal. It is what it is. It is a blemish. It's not ideal. It's like it's not ideal in any circumstance, but I don't know what the sort of comparison is here. Maybe it's like Tom Brady losing a Super Bowl. Like, yes, it's terrible, it's not ideal, it's not good whatsoever, but it doesn't take away from everything else that he's achieved and making him the sort of most accomplished player at his position in the history of his sport. I mean, that was quite the analogy there. But yeah, it sucks. It's definitely not ideal, but it is what it is. And who knows? Maybe they'll surprise us. Maybe the storyline will be so sort of enticing and so make you be on the edge of your seat so much that you won't even notice the recast. I mean, I don't think that's very likely, but it's possible. So at Ion J, that you said, do you think they should have don't you think they should write around it? Again, in an ideal circumstance, maybe, but I mean, Jeff is such a crucial character to the storyline of Gene Takovic. I mean, it would be crazy to think that, it would kind of be like the sort of, that sort of meme of the movie The Room, where the sort of breast cancer dialogue comes up and then it never comes back. If sort of the scene happens with Jeff making Jimmy and making Saul, like making his identity, and sort of that conversation, the person he brought with him, and the sort of conversation that he had with Ed the Disappearer after that. If you sort of, it's so hard to write around that because this was such a crucial character to the storyline of Gene Takovic. So yeah, at Power Fist 80, I agree. It's gonna be weird. It's gonna be very weird. I mean, this is like I talked about a little bit earlier. They recast Mike's daughter-in-law from Breaking Bad to a Better Call Saul, but in Breaking Bad, Mike's daughter-in-law was just a background character. I mean, she didn't have any dialogue. She was just a background character. She just waved. But and so yeah, it's not the biggest deal. But when you have a character like Jeff, who was so crucial to the story, who had very distinct mannerisms and a very distinct voice and a very distinct appearance, to sort of have to completely rewrite that it's going to be a trip for sure. It's going to be weird at Power Fist 80. I agree completely. So. At Rocco and Andrasani, again, I don't know the theories. I'm not really too sure about what exactly her character is going to be, but yeah, I believe that's Bob Odenkirk said in a sort of interview when he was like on the red carpet for some event that he was talking about. There's like this new female character that's extremely crucial to the story. So I imagine that this is going to be that character. Again, what specific role that she's going to have in the storyline, I'm not sure whatsoever, but. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be pretty amazing to see. Yeah, he basically talked about there's this new female character that hasn't been mentioned at all in the plot of Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul. Completely new, completely crucial to the story. Yet we're 6 episodes away from this series being wrapped up completely. So it's at Ion J, at Judge Papadumian, I do like that theory. At Marcos P, maybe she's Ed the Disappearer's wife. Again, also very possible. I like both those theories. I never considered Judge Papadumian. That's definitely a possibility. She's currently never been seen on screen in the plot of Better Call Saul or Breaking Bad. I believe her character traces back to a Breaking Bad in Season 5 in the episode entitled Say My Name, if I'm not mistaken, when Saul and Mike are meeting with Hank and Steve Gomez at... might have been Thunder. Well, at Hank and Steve Gomez at the DEA headquarters in Albuquerque. And, he kind of says, where'd you get your law degree, Goodman? The same degree you got, the same place you got that suit, or the same clown college you got that suit, after he sort of, puts the restraining order on Hank and Steve for harassment of a senior citizen. So, Mike can go about his, his deal to get his, methylamine sold to Declan. Again, it wasn't actually Say My Name. I believe it was the episode prior to Say My Name. It was one before Say My Name. Judge Papadumian was first mentioned, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, what episode was that? It was the one where, Mike puts the gun to Walt's head and says, everybody wins. What episode was that? Was that Buyout? I think that was Buyout. I think she was mentioned in Buyout, if I'm not mistaken. I think Buyout was the first episode she was mentioned in. You can definitely... tell me if I'm wrong there, but I believe that was the one that Judge Papadumian was mentioned first by Saul Goodman, if I'm not mistaken. That's an interesting theory as well. At Brad Kelly, I hope Carol Burnett would be Howard's mom. It's possible. Yeah, Buyout. That was it. Yeah, Buyout. That was the episode. That's another interesting theory with the Carol Burnett's. Howard's mom. It's possible. A lot of great theories here for sure. Again, it's so sort of hard to speculate. It's so open-ended. It's so sort of, it's complete, it's open-ended completely. There's no way of knowing. So I like all the theories that have been floating out there for sure. Howard's mom, Judge Papadumian, Ed the Disappearer's wife, who knows? I believe Bob Odenkirk did say that there is a female character who's coming into the part 2 of season 6 who's going to be very crucial to the storyline. I believe that's what he said. So... It was kind of funny. I actually was sort of thinking about the fact that they likely recast Jeff, and I was sort of thinking back to the sort of theory that everyone had to explain away why Todd Alquist was about what, like 30 pounds heavier in El Camino compared to how we saw him in Breaking Bad, and sort of the theory that due to the fact that these were all flashbacks, that oh my goodness, at Take Care's Classic, yeah, it could be Walter White's mom again, another character that we never saw. Again, possible, I suppose, theoretically possible. So, but yeah, sort of explaining the appearance of Todd Alquist being drastically different from how we saw him in Breaking Bad and El Camino. You know, sort of the fact that these were all flashbacks that, you know, Jesse was recalling over the course of the film. You know, I heard some people speculate the theory that due to the fact that, you know, Jesse was basically living in a cage and was being starved, you know, this is how he sort of viewed Todd at the time. This was his sort of memory of him, was him being this very big guy, because he was sort of, you know, he was well fed and he was taken care of, and Jesse was not, as opposed to how he actually looked. You know, sort of, you know, this is how he remembered him, even though it's not how he looked at all. And again, the theory's not crazy. I mean, you do read about the fact that, you know, people's, you know, eyewitnesses accounts are usually very different from, you know, what actually happened, despite the fact they were eyewitnesses. And even if you're an eyewitness to something, at least this is what I believe I was taught in high school psychology class, that, you know, your memory can be completely different from what you actually see. It's definitely possible. So, again, and then to kind of draw it here to this recast, maybe, you know, again, it's crazy. It's a total sort of pie in the sky thing about how this is how Jeff actually looked, and, you know, versus like how Saul perceived how he looked. Again, and it's not the case. They recast him, but again, just trying to sort of explain away this sort of very unideal sort of aspect of this you know, series in the final 6 episodes. So yeah, at M4 Arcos P, yeah, maybe she has something to do with Sandpiper. Again, unlikely. I feel like, you know, it's technically possible, but I really feel like that storyline is kind of wrapped up already, and we sort of moved on from the actual Sandpiper. I mean, Mrs. Landry sort of settled, and, you know, the lawsuit is settled. I don't know, you know, I feel like that maybe is sort of, you know, going back in time when I feel like we really need to go forward with the storyline. There's so much left to tell, but I guess it's technically possible. I mean, who knows? Maybe she's in some way affiliated with the cartel. Like, I don't know. Maybe related, like a relative of the cartel. It's possible. I'm not really sure. But yeah, it's yeah, it is what it is. I mean, a lot of mysteries still out there. And even though a lot of people know what happens in the next episode already, there's still 5 more episodes after that where, you know, completely open ended. And I definitely hear, you know, a lot of people saying that, you know, the episode 8 is even more shocking than episode 7. So, I mean, if that's the case, I only can imagine what 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13 are. And yeah, Alex Wolff, that's a great point. We want Bill Burr. Fingers crossed we're going to see him. You know, we will see Jesse Pinkman and Walter White. I have heard, I forgot who said it. Maybe it was Bob Odenkirk said that, or I believe someone said it who was very integral to the show. An actor or a writer said that, you know, their role is even bigger than we think, than we, you know, maybe think it's going to be. It's not going to be this sort of just brush by inconsequential sort of appearance. So yeah, add Rocco Andressani. Yeah, apparently it's going to be more crucial, at least from what I've heard. And it's not going to be just some sort of brush by appearance. Again, trying to sort of speculate too much on the plot here is pretty tough. Again, I feel like I'll go more into the sort of, you know, rampant, like broad stroke speculation after I see episode 8, since the whole episode is basically out there. So, again, at Joe Blow, I'm actually not familiar with Carol Burnett. You know, you don't seem to have a very good opinion of her. Again, I'm not familiar. I know she's very famous, but truly, I'd never heard of her before. I mean, I've heard of her, but I wasn't too familiar with her work. Not at all, really. I know she's a very famous actor from many decades ago. I mean, I believe she's in her 80s now. So, again, I'm not too familiar with her, if she's a comedy actor or, you know, what she did over the course of her career. But I'm crucial to see how she will affect the storyline for sure. So, that's an interesting theory, Reeds. Again, that's sort of the sort of artistic sort of explanation of maybe having a different actor. I do kind of like that for sure. Sort of, you know, Gene's perception of him keeps changing. I mean, that is a motif for sure. Again, I believe that movie. This is sort of crazy out there, but you know, many decades ago. I mean, it is kind of true, but there's that movie that went out there, like The Father. I think it got nominated for like an Academy Award or something. It's about a like an older man with dementia or something to that effect. But I think his like over the course of the show, like the actors who portray characters keep changing because he's old and has dementia, and sort of what he thinks character looks like, what he thinks various characters look like, and how he remembers them keep changing in his mind. So that's actually a very interesting sort of literary motif that film used. But again, I don't think they want us to recast. I don't think they're trying to play sort of 3D chess with this character. I think they just logistically had to recast him because of the sort of logistical nature of filming a television show in 2020 and 2021 that we all knew, was the case. So yeah, at AB, I have high hopes for these final 6 episodes. I really do. Again, definitely sort of. It was kind of weird. I mean, I was on a real sort of. It really took me a while to decompress after I saw episode 7, the mid-season finale. It took me a while to come down, but again, it's been a while. I mean, we're heading on 6 7 weeks without Better Call Saul, so I've kind of been sort of I've been out of it a little bit in respect to sort of really getting involved in this show. But I feel like once episode 8 premieres in 2 weeks from Monday, a week from this Monday, I really just feel like the inertia of a web episode every single week and the sort of speculating on it. I feel like I'll really sort of get back into it. But right now, I feel like until then, a little bit of a lull. But definitely have high hopes for these last 6 episodes for sure. Yeah, at Marcos P. Again, that's an interesting sort of thing. I've heard people in this chat had said, like, Carol Burnett being Walt's mother. I guess the age of it makes it theoretically possible, but again, you wonder how that would factor into the story because, if it's in the modern day present timeline, we know that Walter White was in no way affiliated with the Albuquerque criminal underworld. So, again, you wonder how that would sort of fit into the sort of character of, Walter White, with his sort of mom, and he's not affiliated in this world whatsoever, as opposed to, the sort of maybe a flash forward. Again, I completely sometimes forget about the fact that we need to see that scene in the Breaking Bad timeline of Francesca as well. Again, so much out there. I mean, I feel like I've talked about it all in like various past live streams. So, I mean, maybe again, if Walter White appears in the Breaking Bad timeline relating to the scene with Saul and Francesca that we saw in season 4 of Better Call Saul in the episode entitled "Quite a Ride," and Carol Burnett's character is tertiarily related via Walter White's mom. I guess it's possible, but I'm not really sure. So, man, this chair is clicking a lot. Yeah, at Chris Cisneros. Yeah, I mean, it sucks. Again, I don't want to believe it either, but it's not official. But it's kind of there's knowing and there's proving. So I know when I saw it this morning, I talked about it a little bit earlier. It really sort of took the wind out of my sails in respect to being a stickler for continuity of a Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad, but it is what it is. So yeah, at Rocco Andrestani again. That's another great point. Again, there's that whole Ignacio storyline. Again, you imagine that the sort of explaining of that is gonna start immediately with the conversation that's going to happen between Lalo and Saul and Kim in Kim and Jimmy's apartment with dead Howard Hamlin on the floor. Spoiler alert, I apologize. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so you'd imagine that the sort of, it wasn't me, it was Ignacio's scene. All of the sort of logistics of that I've talked about Saul sort of, thinking that Lalo was still alive, even though that Gus Fring's dialogue insinuates that Lalo was dead. All the sort of logistical back and forths. Again, I've talked about it again and again in so many past live streams. All the sort of nuance in respect to all the various continuity of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. You would imagine that's all going to start when we see that conversation finally take place in the premiere of part 2 of season 6 of Better Call Saul. At Cristianeros, yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, other than this news, I am having a great weekend. I can say that for sure. Yeah, at Jeff Airy, yeah, that's a great point. Again, at this point, Saul doesn't even know that Nacho is dead. I mean, we don't even really know if Lalo knows that Nacho is dead, to be completely honest. We don't, because, again, he's conversed with Hector. Again, theoretically, it's possible he's conversed with Hector off screen. It's unlikely, but it's kind of funny. All three of those characters, it's definitely very, very possible that none of them know that Nacho Varga is deceased. So you do wonder how that's going to sort of factor in to this. Yeah, at John Doman, I talked about that as being a potential theory. Maybe she's somehow related to the cartel. Lalo's mom, I suppose it's possible. Again, we don't really know. I mean, there's really no way of knowing. It's complete speculation. I mean, we could literally speculate all day. Obviously, some theories are better than others, so. But I guess it's definitely possible. I thought maybe she is a sort of cartel connection. At Chris Cisneros, yeah, I mean it's not for everyone. I mean back when Breaking Bad was going on, I definitely tried to convince some more distant family members to watch the show, and one of them, I think they got through like maybe a season and a half, and they just stopped watching, and they said this show is too depressing. So it's definitely not for everybody, but I really enjoyed it for sure. And yeah, it's not for everyone. I mean, I'm not a fan of Marvel superhero movies, but they're unbelievably popular. I've never really watched them, never had any sort of care for them. But a lot of people like them. So again, to each their own. Not everyone's not gonna like everything. um, you know, Usually things that are more polarizing are better. Things that are people really are. If I feel like if everybody likes it, it's just kind of very neutral and very bland and not very interesting. But I feel like things like very sort of very interesting things can be very polarizing for sure. So at full hey one, it's possible. There might be some things in the works. We'll see for sure. We'll see. So. Yeah, Adam, again, that username. I'll just call you SDH76ZHEU. Yeah, again, I've talked about that a little bit. It's so hard to sort of recast this character because I feel like it's true. Jeff had a very unique look. It's crazy. He literally only had one scene of him talking, but I feel like his look was very unique. He was a very unique character. I sort of liked his mannerisms. He did come across as a very good villain. I liked his sort of appearance as a villain, to tell you the truth. I'd really bought into his character completely. At the SDH, at SDH76HZEU. So to recast it, I mean the voice is completely different. So yeah, had Reeds, he had a Jeff face. I agree completely. Hey, how's it going, Brian C? Yeah, I've heard people definitely mentioned that, and I do like that theory for sure. Her being Judge Papadumian. It's sort of, you definitely feel like it needs to happen eventually, but with this character being mentioned so much, you'd imagine this character is going to be revealed on screen for eventually. But then again, for any Seinfeld fans out there, Bob Sacamano was mentioned by Kramer for the entire series, never seen on screen. So it's possible, it's possible we never see Judge Papadumian. So. At Will K, I talked about this a little bit earlier. No, I did not. I have been very diligent in avoiding all direct spoilers that have not come from officially released sort of teasers and things of that nature. I know if you really want to, you can basically find out this sort of entire episode online if you really sort of deep Google. But I have not. I have no idea what happens. So I've heard people say it's pretty damn intense, but I have not seen it. So. Again, it's sort of hard to sort of make any concrete speculations, as I was saying, because the whole episode is kind of already out there. So I'll kind of save the sort of broad, sweeping speculation for after episode 608 airs. Luckily, we have 5 episodes that weren't sort of leaked whatsoever. So, yep, at Chris Cisneros, a week from Monday for sure. So that's funny. At J Ladybug, someone said the new Jeff sounds like an audiobook. Yeah, the memes have been quite something. If you go on the Better Call Saul Reddit page. So this one was pretty funny right here. This Howard looking at the 2 photos and the judge saying, "Is that supposed to be me?" So Judge Casimiro. So that one was pretty funny. Yeah, I mean, it's so easy to turn into a meme here. With all you really have to do is just insert the image in the rearview mirror here. So. Again, at Will K, I don't even want to know. I don't know. I mean, maybe they are. I believe there was a post up here on the on the Reddit page for Better Call Saul for a little bit that said like spoiler review after the Tribeca premiere, but I think it was taken down right away. So I mean, maybe if you saw that, those were legitimate leaks. But again, I'm not so sure. So yeah, he'll always be Jeff in my heart. Exactly. Like this is the this will always be, what's that, the hashtag, like not my Jeff or something to that effect, So yeah, I will wait at N394. I will wait 9 days. I will wait 9 days for sure. I mean, this is apparently the new actor. I mean, this post right here. This is apparently the new actor. I mean, someone kind of made a post here, so hopefully there's not. I mean, usually they, are pretty, seamless recasting exactly, of Jeff here. So he kind of does kind of look like Channing Tatum a little bit. But I believe the Twitter account All About Saul. If I'm not mistaken, let's see here. Hopefully, no problems. Clicked on full image. Yeah, so apparently it was, recast. According to this Instagram page here, that filming obligations from We Own the City on HBO. So yeah, again, it's not confirmed, but it looks to be pretty much beyond a reasonable doubt here. So. Yeah, at J Ladybug, like you said, they should have deep faked it. That's really true there. But again, I've talked about this a little bit. Apparently, that technology is really expensive. Again, I wish I could talk to someone who makes those videos online, because if you go to YouTube, you can see so many sort of deep fake videos that are really good quality on YouTube for YouTube videos. And so I'm thinking to myself, if the quality is so good for a YouTube video, how come these huge big corporations that make film and television can't do it? But apparently it's because it's way too expensive. So again, I know I'm so ignorant of this technology. I know absolutely nothing about it. I know it's very expensive currently, and you wish they could deepfake it for sure. I mean, didn't they sort of airbrush the sort of mustache of Henry Cavill in Superman or something to that effect? So again, I feel like I need to talk to someone who makes these deepfake YouTube videos, with the de-aging or like completely switching the faces, and sort of I wonder why someone can sort of do it on their computer, pretty seamlessly. You imagine it's not costing, this person thousands of dollars to make this YouTube video, but at the same time, these big corporations can't do it for an entire film. Again, I don't know why. I know the budget for like The Irishman was ridiculous. I mean, in the over $100 million, if I'm not mistaken. So, and Thomas Schnauz even said they don't have the time or the money to sort of, de-age characters or, deep fake a character like Jeff the cab driver. But I think it might be easier just for one scene, to tell you the truth, because didn't they sort of superimpose Paul Walker's face on like his brother, who was the actor after his untimely death back in, I believe, in 2015 for that sort of Fast and Furious movie? But he sort of just had a straight look shot without any talking. So I would imagine the sort of moving and the sort of talking and all of that is sort of very difficult and very expensive. So again, maybe if he was a background character, they could have deep faked it. But again, that's what's so unfortunate about it, is he's not a sort of very crucial character, but he's an extremely crucial secondary character to the story. So again, I'm trying to think of how do I phrase this. It's sort of like he's the sort of least most consequential character like moving forward in this series, because he doesn't really have to factor into the present day Better Call Saul timeline seemingly, but he's extremely. I mean, he's the main sort of character. He's the sort of main antagonist of the Gene Takovic timeline. Heading into part 2 of season 6 of Better Call Saul seamlessly. So seemingly, I believe is the word. So yeah, add the killer donuts. Yeah, it wasn't a deep fake, but again, I don't know too much about the technology, but yeah, apparently it's very expensive. But with over time, technology just gets cheaper and cheaper. And as I've talked about in like past live streams, maybe in couple decades in the future, maybe the technology will be more affordable and therefore more ubiquitous in Hollywood, and it'll be a very crucial part of making film and television in the decades to come. Who knows? So Yeah, at Blake Schreckenbach. I think I know who you're talking about. I definitely, if you go back, you can go and find those videos of those deep fakes of the Irishman, where Al Pacino looks more like a young Al Pacino, and Robert De Niro looks more like a young Robert De Niro than they actually did in the film. And I really wonder, how is this possible? How is a YouTuber able to make it look better than a movie? And again, I don't know. Maybe a sort of just the adding the dialogue and maybe the mouth moving is very expensive or something to that effect, as opposed to just the sort of image itself. Again, I don't know. I'm very curious about this. You can definitely find some great deepfakes out there, in respect to those the actors looking more like they actually do than they did in The Irishman. So. At Cristianeros, I mean, again, you can. I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess I would. There's part of me that wishes he's not recast, but again, I guess we can hold on to. We can hold out hope until we actually see it on screen. So, again, if we go back to this scene right here that we see at the very end of this, the character getting out of the cab. Again, we don't get a very clear shot of it. He's definitely meant to be the same character. I mean, he's clearly wearing the same sweater, but yeah, we don't really get a great shot of him. I mean, if you go back and listen, the voice is completely different. So, I mean, maybe I can play this for like a split second, hopefully. So, like, if you just listen to the voice, I mean, it's completely different. I mean, I don't want to play it right now, but just go back and watch this sort of video that they put out today. The voice is distinguishably different. Um, you would wish that maybe the actor would even try to resemble Jeff's voice more, but from this teaser here, it really didn't seem like it was that much of a priority for sure. So, I'm not gonna do that, but I guess some audio engineer could like take the two clips and sort of analyze the voices and just sort of truly see how different they are at Chris Nero's. Like if that's what you're sort of getting at. So how's it going, Kate Valentine? Good to be back again. Wasn't really planning on doing this stream today, but after this sort of thing that came out today, I thought it was just a very apt sort of time to discuss this show. And I haven't really been talking about any of the teasers that have come out so far prior to the premiere of Part 2 of Season 6. At Reed's, yeah, I mean, we can really sort of hold out hope here. An April Fool, a sort of July Fool's joke, I guess, that they put out on July 2nd. I mean, I guess we can hold out hope. Yeah, I might try to play like a second of this if I'm not. I think I can play. I think I can maybe get away with. Let's see.
I know who you are.
I mean, yeah, the voice is so much higher there. Like it's. I mean, Jeff's voice was much more. You know, I mean, it was kind of similar, but it's just different. I mean, you just have to go back and listen for yourself. But it was noticeably different in this trailer for sure. So yeah, at N394. Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, it definitely from what everything I've heard, they didn't plan on splitting it in a split season designation, but apparently it was higher powers sort of said that they should split it in two parts. So yeah, at the Killer Donuts, I agree. For sure. The voice was way different, so Yeah, at J Ladybug, yeah, I talked about it a little bit earlier. Again, there's just so much sort of, there was so much built up in about his character. Again, I'd bought into his character so much, all of his mannerisms, all of his just his dialogue, the way he interacted, and you wonder if sort of the new actor is going to try to sort of mirror that completely or try to emulate it. Again, I'm not really sure. So at Chris Daenerys, I don't really play video games. I guess I'd be open to it. I suppose. I'm not much of a. I don't really play video games though. Yeah, at Saul Goodman, yeah, he's definitely a lot younger. He's definitely a lot younger for sure. So here, I might try to hold on. I might try to pull this up real quick if I can for a second. I do have thoughts on the Slip and Jimmy animated show. I definitely have thoughts on that for sure. At Reed's. All right, so hold on. Should be back. Okay, so hopefully you can see this. So again, I'll try to get away with playing a few frames here of the voices and try to compare them real quick. So again, I got the clip up here. So again, I'll try to play a couple more, a couple frames of this. Again, I really don't want to play too much of this. So again, let's see. I know who you are. Yeah. So here we go. This is the sort of. Should we go the old Jeff first, or the new Jeff? I'll play the old Jeff first. The sort of the one we saw originally. So let's see. Well, I can't play a lot of this, but I can try to see. I think I'm when he says, yeah, here. How about here? Like Jeff aged backwards. Yeah, yeah, he definitely did. So who knows? Maybe he's sort of. I mean, I don't. Didn't they say like in the future they want to like you can take something that really rapidly de-ages you? So again, we're really sort of getting crazy here, but let's see if I can play like a couple frames of this and not get in trouble.
I want you to admit it.
I don't. Again, I don't feel good about playing this, but again, I don't want to play it myself, but just go back and watch it yourself in respect to these two different voices. So yeah, it's a shame. Again, I feel like. It is what it is. Again, like I talked about, it doesn't take away from the show. I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm really looking forward to speculating on this show more like broad sweepingly when after the 608 premieres. So yeah, I think unfortunately I'm gonna have to wrap it up there. I got some things to do with the rest of my day, but yeah, I mean it was great to sort of do this sort of impromptu live stream. Wasn't really planning on doing it today, but when I saw this teaser sort of come out, I definitely felt like it was a great opportunity to talk about the show a little bit. But yeah, so yeah, I think it is new dialogue in the teaser for sure. I was just trying to compare the sort of voices to one another. I think the voices sound quite different if you go back and sort of listen to them side by side. In addition to the characters looking very different. But yeah, I'll definitely see what's to come in the days to come in respect to. Before part 2 of season 6 premieres. Again, I don't think we're gonna get a full trailer from what I've seen. I thought maybe we could get a full trailer for part 2 of season 6, but it looks very unlikely. They're being very cryptic with their very sort of subtle teasers that we've seen. I talked about them at the beginning of this live stream. You can go back and check that out if you want. Again, I didn't talk too much about them with the whole episode kind of being out there, but I'll see what happens. Definitely potential to make some videos in the days to come before the episode, but we'll see. Definitely planning on being live after the episodes airs on Monday, and a week from Monday, maybe we'll go live the day before the episode airs as well. If more information comes out, that's definitely possible. But yeah, it was great checking in with everyone, and we'll be there in a couple of days, and be right back at it, speculating and doing more live streams. So hope everyone has a great rest of their week, their day. Hope everyone in the United States has a great long weekend, and I'll see you guys around. Thanks so much for tuning in.